I have recorded this video 5 times. 5 times. So 6 time is the charm. Let's get into it. If you are struggling to understand what's going on in the Apothecary Diaries, or if you just don't remember any of the characters or anything that happened in season 1, this video is for you. I'm going to give you a very, not simplified, maybe realistic, like approachable, palatable. Is that a word I can use? This is for the people who want to know all the details that they need to remember before season 2 comes out. To my best friend, because I know, girl, you're going to hit me up after you watch episode 1 of season 2 and you're going to be like, what's going on? What is the story? What is the plot? Who are these characters? Watch this video. This video is for you. Hello, my name is Hobikage and this is Apothecary Diary Season 1 Recap. By the way, I didn't script this video, so everything I'm saying is off the top of my head with bare minimum notes. The main character of the Apothecary Diaries is Maomao. She's an apothecary and her adoptive father is a doctor. That distinction is a little bit necessary for Season 2, so just keep that in mind. He's a eunuch. He's also physically disabled, and he's old. The girls at the local brothel, who, mind you, they're world famous for their game. Like this brothel, the ladies there, they are known internationally for their skills. And I respect that. They raise her. One of them is actually her wet nurse. And the madam of the house, the old grandma, she's basically like Maomao's grandma. And you need to remember that this was not free. Maomao actually owes the old lady a monetary debt because she helped raise her. One day, Maomao runs out of her faux freckle makeup because people are snatching girls. So Maomao needs to make sure her face card declines. So she goes out to get more ingredients to make her faux freckle makeup. Her dad's like, be home in time for dinner. And Maomao's like, don't worry. Yeah, no, he should worry because she gets snatched immediately and is sold off to work in the palace. Now, being sold off sounds kind of scary, but in the world of the Apothecary Diaries, it basically means that you're sold off to work and you work for just about minimum wage, and the people that sold you off, they get a majority of your paycheck. Her contract's like 2 years. I don't think it's 3. I think it is 2 years. So she has to work for 2 years and then she's free to live life however. But for those 2 years in the palace, her whole goal is to fly under the radar, not to attract attention, and just to be an altogether nobody because she is not trying to get into any kind of trouble. However, trouble finds her. She's minding her business when all of a sudden, 2 of the emperor's wives get into a fight. The blue-haired one slaps the pink-haired one. She falls to the floor. She's like, oh my gosh, I've been hit. And the blue-haired one is like, before our baby's sick, I blame you. Maomao takes one look at them and she's like, I've seen this before. I've seen this before at the brothel. Let me go ahead and give them my Tylenol recipe. So she puts the herbs that'll help heal them, make them better, on the windowsills of the 2 wives. The pink-haired wife takes it and she's like, oh, this stuff really works. We gotta figure out who did this, who wrote this note, who just healed me. We gotta figure out who it is. Then enters my man, Sir Jinshi. He's a little mystery that we're going to learn more about in season 2. His job is to make sure everything in the Rare Palace is running smoothly. The Rare Palace is where the Emperor's 4 wives lives. So when the pink-haired wife is like, I want to find somebody, Jinshi's got to help find that person. Now, listen, Maomao is smart, but I feel like as a group, as a fandom, we underestimate how smart and insightful Sir Jinshi is. Because, oh my gosh, Maomao thought she was slick, but Jinshi figures out, ain't nobody can read and write back here, so there's really only one option. In an afternoon, Jinshi figures out that Maomao is the one who made the antidote to help heal the pink-haired wife and her baby, which is heir to the throne. So Maomao is brought to the pink-haired wife, and she's like, oh, frick, they're gonna kill me. So the pink-haired wife is like, no, I don't want to kill you. I want you to join my squad. Because all of the emperor's wives have their own squad of girls. They're called ladies in waiting. And within the ladies of waiting, there's also one person whose role is to be a poison tester. So that's what Maomao gets brought on to be. Let's actually meet the wives. And I will be calling them all by their hair colors because, let's be real, do any of us remember their names? That's what I thought. There's the pink-haired wife, who I believe is Wasian because she is from foreign land and canonically has green eyes. There's the blue-haired wife, who is not the emperor's favorite, but she's kind of like the hot one. You know what I mean? Then there's actually the emperor's favorite and longest standing wife. She's very tall, very masculine for a woman, and has long purple hair. Oh, and then there's a 12-year-old wife, but it's not her fault that she's married to him. She's actually the current emperor's stepmom because she was married to the former emperor because the former emperor had an abusive mother. And then he was like, I can't marry women anymore because I'm scared of them. I have to marry children. And everybody was like, ew, gross. So at some point, 12-year-old wife gets sent away to what we can call a nunnery, but then she comes back because no child left behind. Don't worry, the emperor does not touch her. In fact, the emperor doesn't even visit her until a turning point in the story where he's like, maybe I should give her some kind of attention. Now, going back to the blue-haired wife. The blue-haired wife is still sick. She is very much so giving Ozempic meets crack. It's not good. The baby's also sick, and we cannot have these babies sick. The emperor is supposed to have multiple heirs to the throne in case there's an assassination attempt, or if the child makes it to emperor age and then dies of natural causes. The emperor has got to have a lot of children. So having 1 out of 2 of them still being sick is a big issue. So the emperor is like, we need to get Maomao on this because I heard she'd be working miracles for pink-haired wife. Call her up, tell her to go help out blue-haired wife. Now, Maomao is smart. She looks at blue-haired wife and goes, I know what this is. Let me see your makeup. She checks. It's not even Fenty. It's not even the one-size foundation. It is expired Walmart brand Wet n Wild powder foundation from like 2012. And she knows that it's bad because all of the girlies back at the brothel used to use that brand and it was making them sick. The thing is, that's old news. Maomao turns to the ladies in waiting and is like, y'all been giving the emperor's wife this foundation? And she smacks the head of the blue-haired wife's lady in waiting. She smacks her across the face, pulls her up by her bundles, and says, don't ever let me catch you harming this woman ever again. Under your watch, I don't even want to see the wife drop 2 pounds in weight. Don't let me catch you slipping up again. Then she proceeds to drag her by her bundles. And if you look closely at the animation, you can see her tracks lifting. It's a true story. Go back, watch the episode. So the blue hair wife gets better and she's like, oh my gosh, thank you, Maomao, but I lost so much weight and I'm so like unattractive and, will the emperor even visit me? And Maomao, knowing what she knows from growing up in the town brothel, whispers two little secrets that will get the emperor coming back to blue-haired wife. Fast forward to the garden party. Now, the garden party is where everybody figures out that Maomao's face card is absolutely lethal. The credit limit, unlimited. Some stuff happens during the garden party, but Maomao figures out that somebody is trying to poison the 12-year-old wife of the emperor. Interesting. Why would a 12-year-old have ops? We don't know yet. Maomao tells the poison tester of the 12-year-old, do your job. You know she has allergies. She's not a picky eater. She's low-key scared because we don't have EpiPens in medieval China. You need to do your job better. I guess when Maomao originally got her job, no one told her she can take PTO. So she decides to take PTO. But first, she needs a chaperone. So she goes up to this dude who was gagged by her face card during the garden party and is like, hey, can you be my chaperone? He's like, why would I ever do that? Maomao slides over her business cards and is like, you know that toe curling, back arching, soul sucking brothel back in town? Those are my sisters and I can put you up for the weekend. He goes for like 3 days straight. And while he's having fun, Maomao's able to go catch up with her father, and her grandmother punches her in the stomach. When Maomao gets back from her days off, she tells Jinshi what happens, but she tells the story wrong, and Jinshi thinks she's the one that was providing services to her chaperone, and he's quite upset. But then they have a little heart to heart, and we start to slowly realize more and more that Jinshi, in all of his beauty, is a good person. The emperor has one more wife that Maomao has yet to meet, and it is the long, purpled hair, kind of handsome wife of the emperor who, and this is important, her baby died years ago. I don't actually remember the reason why Maomao is tasked to go hang out with the purple hair wife and the purple hair wife's ladies in waiting, but she figures out that the lady in waiting, the head lady of waiting of the purple hair wife, is the one who tried to poison the 12-year-old wife of the emperor. And the lady in waiting is executed. But executions take a long time to plan, so during this time period, the long purple-haired wife of the emperor is sent out of the rear palace, aka the breeding chambers, and is put into the retirement area, which is a little suspect because if you're no longer being used for making babies, they usually just throw you out altogether, but the emperor's keeping her around. I wonder why. The going away ceremony is really sad. The 12-year-old wife of the emperor is kind of like an adoptive daughter to the purple hair wife, just because the 12-year-old wife has been there for so long and the purple hair wife has also been there for so long. So she adopted her in a way. The most important thing about this episode is that we get this shot of Jinshi and purple hair wife. I wonder what this could mean. Interesting. Right? The lady who is scheduled for execution, her family is now being fired in mass droves. It's like an Amazon-style layoff. All right, pay attention because this might sound a little confusing. The people who kidnapped Maomao and sold her off to work in the palace are in the same clan as the lady who poisoned the 12-year-old. So, since everyone in that clan is being fired, Maomao is also being fired. He's like, maybe I don't have to fire Maomao. Maybe I can just, hold her captive and never let her leave my side. We determined that was a wild thing to do. So in his professional boss man voice, he tells Maomao, hey, you're let go. And Maomao, oh my word, Maomao in her head. Because fun fact, the Apothecary Diaries, one of the original translations of the original title is the Apothecary Soliloquy. So we do hear a lot of her internal monologue throughout this series. So her internal monologue is something along the lines of, I don't want to ask for a job because I'm a peasant and that would be overstepping my social boundaries. However, I really don't want to get fired, so I'll just politely allude to the fact that I would be okay with staying. She gets fired. Jinshi lets her go because she said something like, do with me as you want. And Jinshi's like, oh, she's so polite. Maomao leaves. She goes back home. Jinshi spirals. This man spirals. I'm talking about crying, screaming, throwing up. He's not bathing. He's not eating. He hasn't brushed his teeth. I'm just kidding. It's not that bad. But he is crying in a corner. Meanwhile, Maomao is getting close to the age where she has to repay her granny. So Granny, the madam of the brothel back in town, puts her to work as a drink girl. She doesn't have to sell feet pics yet, but she does have to work to get some kind of real income. So she pulls up at this party that has all these rich dudes and she hears this sad, pathetic whimper in the background. Maomao's sitting here thinking, who would come to a party with a bunch of pretty girls and not want to to dance, to live life, to breathe air, to know somehow you're gonna get there. Oh, this moment is just so freaking cute. Oh, it's just so sweet I could throw up. She like pulls back his hair and looks and sees his pretty eyelashes and she's like, Jinshi, what are you doing here? Jinshi looks up and he sees the love of his life. And his first thought is, oh God, she would rather sell feet pics than work for me. This is actually where my standard in men increased expeditiously because after explaining everything, Jinshi's like, how much? Oh my gosh. He's like, how much do you cost? I'll buy out your contract. Because the girls in the brothel, they get their contracts bought out and people will take them on as like wives. This happens when girls start getting too old to work or if they're on discount. I'm not quite sure, but people can buy out your contract and you can work for someone else, be someone else's wife. Jinshi's like, how much is your contract? He pulls up cash. His money don't jiggle. It folds. And just like that, they have a big going away ceremony. Maomao's sisters dress her up and her and Jinshi, oh my goodness, they have this like newlywed type shot where it's both of them in the carriage. In the next few episodes, a lot happens. Maomao goes to work for Jinshi because he's the one that bought her out. She does not go back to the pink-haired wife. She works for Jinshi. The emperor also gets a new wife. She's cool. Has a really strong RBF, but like, she's cool. At some point, Maomao makes Jinshi ugly and they go out in town together. And then we meet this creepy man. This creepy man pulls up to Jinshi's office and is like, so I seen that girl that be working for you. I got some connections with that brothel back in town. Jinshi's like, girl, what are you talking about? So he goes up to Maomao. Maomao don't want nothing to do with that man. The creepy man, Jinshi name drops him once. Maomao's like, no, do not speak his name in my presence. Maomao does not like him. Obviously, Apothecary Diaries is a mystery, so we have another mini-ish mystery that pops up. Maomao figures out that there's going to be a life-threatening accident in this smaller room of worship. So she goes up to the guard and she's like, let me in. The guard's like, girl, you're not on the list. You cannot get into this party. Maomao's like, please. And this is when Maomao gets slapped across the face. And I'm just thinking, girl, I seen you fight that lady's maid in episode, 4? You had a mean right hook back then. Come on, Maomao, square up. Let's go. She's absolutely getting beat up publicly in front of people. That's when Creepy Man shows up and he's like, what are you doing? Why are you beating up on this girl? Let her go past. Maomao goes past. She saves Jinshi from like a falling anvil or something. It's very dramatic, very K-drama almost. Oh my gosh, I forgot. This is when Jinshi looks at Maomao like he's the most prettiest. Oh, he just looks at her and he's just so pretty, which is important to the plot. Did I mention he's a eunuch? Allegedly. Okay, yeah. In saving Jinshi, Maomao gets injured and then Jinshi has to carry her out. Jinshi walks past the creepy man holding Maomao in his arms. Everyone's low-key looking like, how is this eunuch so strong? So manly. And the creepy man is very shocked. It's almost like he didn't want Maomao to get beat up or injured. I wonder why. And now it's time for a backstory that'll make us sympathize with the creepy man. Creepy Man is a part of this high-ranking family. I believe they're a military family. Not quite sure. The details, they're important, but you'll be fine. What you need to know is that he's super freaking smart, but face blind, as in he cannot differentiate between human faces. Everyone just looks like a blank canvas to him. Everyone, except for the baddest chick at the brothel. He pulls up to play some, what I assume is Chinese checkers. Shogi maybe, but that's Japanese. I have no idea. He shows up to play his little game, and there's this smart, almost arrogant, overconfident woman with long forest green hair. Now, I wonder where we have seen forest green hair before in this show. Exactly. There is something about this woman that cures his face blindness. She is the only face that he recognizes, and he falls so hard for her, head over heels. He falls so hard that you would think that no one could match his freak, but she matches his freak. They're meeting each other every month, spending long days and longer nights together. One day he's like, hey, babes, I've got to go. I don't know what it was actually. I don't know if it was schooling or military training. He leaves. He dips for a long time. Then he gets a letter in the mail. He opens the letter. He thinks, is it a twig? No, it's like a rat tail. No, it's a finger. And then he rolls the envelope more and it's an even tinier finger. He books it. He's running back to that brothel. He's like, let me in. Let me see my woman. The madam begins to beat him with a broom. She's yelling at him, get out. Because you do not get the best-selling, the booked and busy girl at the brothel pregnant and then dip on her. That's trashy. Not only did he get her pregnant, but I guess the pregnancy and the everything medieval China-y, she winds up getting very, very sick. And she's not necessarily within her right mind. I hate to boil it down to this, but his actions cost the brothel probably millions. One day, when he's on his scheduled begging to be let in, he looks up and sees a little girl with forest green hair. And literally, he's like, my precious, come to me, my precious. That scares the crap out of Maomao. Maomao's like, heck no. And her adoptive dad is like, oh, now, Maomao, don't look at strangers. And that's actually why Maomao don't like him. Because he's creepy. That's creepy. You can't run up on kids like that. They'll think you're creepy. No matter how creepy he seems, he does have a good heart and he does love his daughter and want to be in her life. So he continues to pester Jinshi till Maomao comes up with a plan. Her plan is to duel him. Also, we're going to make it a drinking game. You see, the creepy man was well known at that brothel for being a lightweight. So in a turn of events, he can't even finish the game because he's such a lightweight. Now, what were the stakes that were at stake in this game? Well, if he won, Maomao would have to go live with him. And if Maomao won, which she did, he has to go buy one of the girls at the brothels, like buy out their contract, the same way Jinshi bought out Maomao's contract. Because, you know, you're getting older. You can't always sell feet pics like you used to. You start looking for a rich, wealthy man to buy you out. He's very rich. Any girl would be lucky. They go down to the brothel. He's looking around. He can't even tell the difference between these girls. They all look exactly the same because he's face blind. And then he hears the love of his life and he starts booking it, running. He is reunited with the love of his life. And it's in this moment where Maomao's mother is brought back to reality and he finally sees a face that he's able to recognize. And both of their illnesses are almost made better in each other's presence. Oh, it's so beautiful. He buys out her contract. He takes her. Oh my goodness. He takes her. They have a big party to celebrate. And Maomao celebrates by dancing on top of the palace wall. And Jinshi pulls up and he's like, girl, what are you doing on my walls? You look like a demon. Get down. They fall down. Maomao's still injured from that accident a couple episodes back. He carries Maomao. They walk off together into the sunset. Maomao leans in to Jinshi and says, are you ready for season 2? And that is exactly where the Apothecary Diaries ended. If you made it this far into the video and you liked the video, feel free to like the video. And if you have any questions about the series, feel free to comment them down below. I'm going to try to make more videos. However, my gaming channel is doing a lot better than my anime channel. So I got to prioritize. I'm sorry. I try my best. This video on the screen is the video that YouTube thinks you will like the most. Feel free to click it if you want to see more content. And if I don't see you when I'm live on Twitch, then I will see you in the next video. Bye.